This is our 7th episode, and we're super excited for this one because this is our first collaboration with none other than Harsh. All three of us were together in high school, in Modern Indian School. After which, we obviously went forward to pursue higher studies, wherein Saishree studied social sciences, I studied design, and we have Harsh who studied filmmaking. So today we have Harsh, and we're going to talk all about movies.
Yes. So, Harsh and me, we've been friends for a very long time. You joined Chandbagh in grade 1, no, Harsh? Huh?
We've been together since class 1, the same school.
Yeah, we've been in the same school for we studied in Chandbagh for 10 years. And then we again went to the same high school, Modern Indian School. So we studied 12 years together, and then we were classmates also for so many years and all. And Harsh always had this passion for filmmaking. And what we used to do was during high school, right after we finished grade 10, we used to every weekend we all used to gather up together at one of our friends' house, either Harsh's house, my house, or any of our friends' house, classmates' house, and we should shoot films and skits.
I've actually seen.
I mean, for me, it was free labor, so there's no way I was going to turn down free labor.
And we used to beg Harsh in the bus, when we were studying in Modern Indian, we were in the same bus as we live in the near same area and all. And then we used to tell Harsh, "Hum kaile heroine banaune me and Arshi," We used to always nag him, and he used to plan, all the skit and make scripts and all, prepare scripts and all, and then so it was all professional. Okay, we he had all the instruments and all, so not instruments, but then equipments, and then we used to do shooting and feel like heroine. Oh my god, we were such crazy kids, during of that time. But then we had fun.
It was good practice for what I would eventually go on to do.
Yeah.
I still have a lot of material which hasn't been released, and if the need should ever arise to blackmail you people, there's lots of material there.
We would love to be a part of it.
I like this. I like these kinds of threats.
Yeah.
So moving on with our episode.
Yeah.
The first thing that we would want to start with is understanding how you actually decided to pursue this career, and was it a passion that you were already following or something like that?
So for me, filmmaking, I really started to think of it as a potential career around class 9 or so. That's when I really started to explore the realm of online video, mainly YouTube. So I just saw that there's normal people making videos in their homes with whatever they had. And that opened my eyes to this potential career of I don't need to have the most expensive camera, the most expensive mic to start making things. And then by the time we got to high school, I studied science. In hindsight, I realized I studied science reluctantly, more so because that was the expected route, more so than what I really wanted to do for myself. And after that, the question of what to do next came up, and I realized if I followed the path that is expected of most Nepali people, which is either doctor or engineer, I'm sure there's other career paths, but these are the most common ones that parents encourage their children towards. I would not have been happy. I've been making these videos for fun. Might as well make a career out of it because that's the time when I'm most happy, when I'm most creative, when I feel most fulfilled. So that was what led me down that road.
Wow, awesome.
And so after that, how did you, find your perfect college or whatever during that time? Right after high school, how did you, who told you about the colleges that you should apply for? Or how did you come across the opportunity that you, went to India?
Filmmaking as a career isn't really as well promoted in Nepal because our industry is still fledgling. It's still growing. So I thought about studying here and there were a few options, but then because the industry itself is so young, it's still learning, it's still growing, it's still trying to find itself. I thought if I study here, I would get lost in that same shuffle of trying to find myself. So the decision I took was to definitely go abroad. The second factor that came in was monetary. Now, obviously studying film, like studying anything else, is pretty expensive. So the financial aspect was a concern. So the closest place where I could find the best education was India.
Right.
Then again, education consultancies here don't really have any sort of provision for filmmaking. So it was up to me. Google was my best ally. Several websites. I went to top film schools in India. There were several lists and I found my college was ranked 3rd or 4th. That didn't really matter to me. What was important was the fact that it was in a city where basically South Indian cinema lives in Hyderabad.
True.
So there's a lot of studio integration, there's a lot of work opportunities. And because the industry is right there, people keep coming like to our college to teach us. And all of these things contributed to me deciding to apply for this college.
Okay.
Now, applying wasn't that difficult. It was an online interview, online exam, everything was online. And once they gave the go ahead, I went to Hyderabad with my parents to get settled.
And what college did you go to? And how long is the course?
When I applied, when I joined, the college's name was Annapurna International School of Film and Media. In the last 2 years, they've rebranded to Annapurna College of Film and Media.
Okay.
Again, when I studied, it was a 4-year course for Bachelor of Fine Arts. Now it's a 3-year course for Bachelor in Arts. BA, I believe, is what it's called now. Yeah, that's basically it.
Okay. And were there like specific subjects that you were studying? Tell us about something where you had to do theory and practical,
Yeah.
and what you enjoyed more out of it.
The first 2 years were designed to give you a taste of every department that is involved in filmmaking. The primary 3 being editing, sound design, and cinematography. Along with this, we also had options for photography, graphic design. We learned philosophy, we learned psychology. English was obviously there. All these things that really gave you a wider scope of all the tools you need to incorporate as a filmmaker.
Right.
So once you finished your second year, we had an option to apply to, for filmmaking, there was 3 primary specializations, which was editing, sound design, and cinematography. But there were other non-filmmaking specializations as well. Almost every subject that we studied had a theory and a practical side.
Okay.
Pretty much 50-50. So you would learn how a camera sensor treats light, and then you would go apply that in a later practical session. You would be taught how the human ear works, and then you'd go out and listen. You would learn how a mic captures sound, and you would go out and practice. We could go and learn with more or less industry grade equipment.
Yeah. Nice.
What did you get any opportunities in terms of having to work with some of the artists in Bollywood, or from the South Indian industry, or like
Even Nepal or Hollywood.
yeah, like any sort of internship or whatever, like where you could work with some recognized people?
If you're talking about work as in work on a set, there were several opportunities. We also had several master classes or lectures from industry greats like editors, cinematographers, people who are very well known, especially in the South cinema side. They would come and give us lectures very often. Beyond that, internships wise, you would mostly get those following your graduation.
Okay.
Like right now, you get there's this constant stream of potential job opportunities that our college keeps emailing to us. And while I was studying, I didn't go through my college, but I did find work as an editor in several places, and also work as a sound editor, a sound designer in several places. So basically the skills that I was learning, I was able to apply at the same time and hone my skills so I could better use it at a later time.
So, what kind of films are you looking forward to make in the future? What kind of projects are you looking forward to be a part of now? Since you're back in town, you've graduated and all. Now you're back home. So, and then obviously I'm sure you'll be working for Nepali film industry only. So, what kind of projects are you looking forward to be a part of?
Now, there's this big debate about whether a movie should, how do I phrase this? Should it be solely a piece of art, or should it be a commodity to be sold?
Okay, nice.
I definitely fall into the school of thought that films should definitely prioritize being a piece of art
Yes.
that can teach people about themselves, that can teach people about their societies, or if they watch foreign films, teach people about the world views, the thought
culture,
processes from other places as well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't ignore that it costs a lot of money to make a movie, and you need to recoup on the investment of the producer. So the types of movies that I want to make, it's definitely far off, because I don't want to fall into the same category of boy meets girl. There's some drama. I would love by film. because that is a trope that has been done to death.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's bad to do that. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's like sinful to sort of enjoy that sort of media. But that's not what I want to make. I want to make movies that really make people look at themselves, look at their society, and I don't know, make people laugh. That's my prime objective. It's to make people laugh at themselves, to laugh at society, to just laugh and then realize things about themselves that they may not have learned, like noticed before.
Right.
Now, that all sounds very difficult, and it is.
It is, of course,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah.
The way you're explaining all of this with so much passion,
Yeah.
it is commendable to see that, really. Like, even when you're talking about it, there is so much passion in the choice of words that you're using. It's crazy.
Yeah, we're very excited to be a
a
part
whole
of
year to think about
Yeah, we're
this.
very excited to be a part of your beautiful, masterpiece or state of art. I don't know, whatever it is. But we would love to make people laugh.
So, moving on to the last question, which is tell us about your favorite directed film that you've watched, and or maybe a movie that inspired you, and why did it inspire you? Especially keeping in mind like in terms of your career as well, that how it inspired you in terms of your career as well.
My favorite movie of all time is by a Japanese director called Yasujiro Ozu.
Okay.
The movie's name is Tokyo Story. Now, what I love about this movie is that it was made in Japanese culture when it was very conservative. But also, it was a time of growth. Society was changing. It was getting modern. People were moving into cities. And at this point in time, as society gets more modern, there's this trend where people start becoming more material. They focus solely on their careers. They start to forget their family roots. They start to forget the people who were there when they were growing up.
Right.
So Tokyo Story is this story about a family coming together because of the death of an important figure in their family, let's say.
Right.
And the way Yasujiro Ozu uses his camera, it makes you feel like you're actually in the same room as them. You may never have been to Japan. You may have never seen any piece of Japanese media, but you feel like you're in that room. Yasujiro Ozu was also the subject of my final thesis in college. So I've watched his films extensively. I've studied the way he manipulates our emotions, but he doesn't force you into thinking like he does. He leaves it open to interpretation. He'll show you a window, but he doesn't tell you what the window means. And it's stuff like that. It's films like that. There's so much room for thought. There's so much room for discussion. There's so much room for interpretation. That's the kind of film that I really like. I would encourage anyone who's interested in some of the greatest pieces of film ever made to check out Yasujiro Ozu's movies.
And which has been your favorite series of all time?
Favorite series?
Yeah.
That's a difficult question. Whenever I watch TV shows, I definitely prefer comedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So things like Friends, How I Met Your Mother, they're all great.
Yeah.
I
Did you watch the
don't
reunion?
think I have,
Friends reunion?
Sorry?
Did you watch?
of course I watched Reunion. Anyone with a
right?
pulse who was born before 2000 should definitely have seen the Friends reunion now.
Yeah. So,
So, Harsh, any tips and tricks or suggestions for people who are getting into the career of filmmaking or starting their career in the field of filmmaking?
Again, I'm myself very new to this field. I haven't, because the way the world is right now, I didn't really get a chance to kickstart my own career. I've mostly just been trying to plan for the future. But for people who want to study film, I would definitely suggest that you are entirely sure that this is the career path you want to go down. If you want to make films, if you want to make videos, there's lots of online resources. You don't necessarily have to go to a college dedicated to filmmaking. That's not entirely necessary. Going to film school, more so than the knowledge which I gained, which I wouldn't say is entirely unique to film school. I would have been able to find similar knowledge, similar information on websites. But what film school enabled me to find was people who think alike. That's very important, to find people who you can work well with. Beyond that, there's teachers who have had experience in the industry, and can share their experience of working with people, the types of people you will encounter, how to deal with them. More so than the knowledge, because again, the knowledge can be found anywhere, but it's how the knowledge is applied that these teachers
Yes.
really imbued in me. I have a better sense of how I should conduct myself in the industry going forward. Now, this is again based on the industry there. I'm not really sure how the industry here works yet. I look forward to finding out.
Yeah. Okay. So do we have any more questions?
I don't think so.
And so Harsh, do you have anything else that you want to share with our audience?
Audience. I would just like to say
Your
thank you
viewers.
Your
for,
viewers, Harsh.
thank you for having me as your first guest. In the future, when we look back on this soon to be great podcast, I'll always be remembered as the first guest.
Yeah.
That's an honor I'll never, ever be able to repay. And if for whatever reason it doesn't succeed, I can at least say, remember that time I was on your podcast? You need to help me with this. So there's
Yeah.
Of course, definitely.
Yeah. We'll definitely help you and repay you in tenfolds
Yeah.
or more.
that.
So yeah.
Awesome. So thank you so much, Harsh, for joining us. And this was a really, really insightful session.
Yeah.
Personally for us, because like we are movie buffs. And it's like the topic was very intriguing. And I'm sure like everybody today in this entire world is looking forward to new things in terms of entertainment.
Yeah.
And I think you have sort of answered quite a few questions of behind the scenes that takes for a film to build.
Yeah.
As a last note, if anybody wants to apply to my college, it's a very simple process. You just have to write an email, go to their website, and they usually have vacancies. And right now, classes are online. So, it's pretty easy. Although this year, I'm pretty sure admissions are done, but there's always next year.
Yeah.
Of course.
And we wish you all the best, and we're very grateful that you are our like first ever collaborator and guest in our podcast. So yeah, thank you so much, Harsh. And
Thank you, guys.
we hope we see you soon.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to everybody and stay tuned for the next episode as well.
Bye.